Hi students, 8th grade English students in Miss Bannan's class. I'm so excited to have the opportunity to teach you mindfulness. My name is Sally Cipher, it's right behind. I put my email on there, and what is mindfulness? So if we were live right now, I would ask you that and be curious about what your definition is of mindfulness. Some of you might have very practical interpretations of what it means to be mindful. Some of you might say, well, it means to be aware of your surroundings. Some of you may practice certain cultural traditions that include a practice of mindfulness that's very specific. Some of you might even have had mindfulness in elementary school, or maybe you have some sort of program that you participate in that helps you manage big feelings using mindfulness skills. My definition of mindfulness is active noticing. And it's not actually my definition. I got that definition from a woman whose name I can't remember right now, but I hope that I can remember so I can give her credit. But I think that active noticing is a great way of describing this idea of mindfulness. I also call it self-awareness. So let's go back to active noticing. Active noticing. By the way, the woman's name is Ellen Langer, Langer, and I think she was one of the first to be curious and research the benefits of mindfulness. And I think she might be retired, but she was a professor at Harvard University. And I can share more about her bio if you're interested in that. But she termed mindfulness active noticing. And active noticing, we're always noticers, right? We notice things that get our attention. Active noticing is being intentional, on purpose, using our function, our skill, our innate skill that we're born with of being a noticer, being an observer, being intentionally engaged with our surroundings, our physical surroundings. So we're going to practice active noticing by that first worksheet. Active noticing. Can you notice 5 things that you see? So just notice 5 things that you see with your eyes. And I always add naming. Naming what I see, like it's a fact, like frame, kite. So go ahead and pause the video if you'd like to practice that. And next, we're going to notice 4 felt experiences. So 4 things that we can notice that have a texture to them. Touch. Right now, I'm sitting on a like a balancing thing that has these nubs on it. So I notice this, it's called like a sensory, it's called something else actually. It has to do with balance. I can't think of what it's actually called. But I notice the pins, maybe I'd say. I notice the touch of plastic nubs. I actually noticed the touch of a little bit of cold on my skin. So just notice 4 things that have to do with your sense of touch. Your skin is your biggest organ on your body, and it's the biggest receptor, as far as makes sense to me, of the energy and information from our outside world to our inside world, and then sending it back out, energy and information from our inside to our outside. So skin is a huge indicator of how we're taking in the world around us, whether or not we think that it's safe or unsafe. Touch. Pause the video if you want to be curious about 4 experiences that you're having, right? Noticing your sense of touch. And then sound. Noticing sound. Naming what you notice. What are 3 sounds that you notice? You're just a curious observer. You're a scientist of your own environment, being curious, just noticing, naming what you notice. Pause the video if you want to take more time to do that. And then smells. And maybe you use different words. Maybe you smell something fresh or clean. Maybe the smell is bold. Maybe you even imagine the smell of something, but noticing your sense of smell on purpose, like a scientist, just naming what you notice like it's a fact. And then your sense of, or your taste. So what is one thing you notice about your sense of taste? And maybe you imagine a taste, just noticing. So I'm going to give you another mindfulness technique of grounding feet. Practicing mindfulness, active noticing, the skill of self-awareness, being curious about me. When I practice mindfulness or the skill of self-awareness, I am a problem solver. I can access a broader sense of myself. I can access my non-physical space, my space of thoughts and feelings and ideas, the things that I can't see, hear, smell, taste, or touch, the non-physical. But I can mix that with my sense of physical, what I can see, hear, smell, taste, or touch. So my right side of the brain is rooted in my non-physical connection to things that include my imagination, my creativity. I include play and laughter, this space of infinite possibility. My left side of my brain, which works my right side of my body, is my structured side of my brain that likes a plan, likes things to have a beginning, middle, and an end, likes boundaries, the beginning of the day, the end of the day. So I have the ground beneath me, which represents like a sense of safety and security, a sense of like a sense of what's real. I can see, like in this picture, I can see the grass. I interpret the green. I can see the tree. There's roots that grow into the earth. There's a core of the earth that I can imagine that pulls. So the ground offers this sense of stability, this sense of what is real that helps me feel this established sense of control, where space can seem really free and anything can happen, anything is possible. And sometimes we like to live in space. We like to if we're not comfortable with what's happening and what we can smell in our physical surroundings, we can space out. And it's hard to be a learner when we're thinking about things that could happen in another time, things that did happen. And it's also hard to be a learner when I just want to follow rules, when I'm not being curious about things with my imagination and creativity and being able to apply it to a bigger way of looking at the world. So I can get stuck in the ground where I become very rigid and I need rules and I want things to make sense. But I can also get stuck in space where I feel disconnected from my physical surroundings. Mindfulness helps us integrate these two parts of our brain and helps us feel a sense of presence, a sense of balance, not too much, not too little. If you've heard of homeostasis or equilibrium, our body has a way of being natural, just nature. We have a natural way of integrating and adapting to our environment and our experiences, which is helpful when there's a global pandemic. It's helpful when there are racial tensions that are really evident right now. It's helpful when there is political tensions that are really evident right now. So this skill can help us integrate the right and left side that can help us feel our natural sense of being able to have the resources inside of us that help us adapt to our circumstances. So, grounding feet. We're going to take our big toe, just notice your big toe, bring your attention to your big toe and just push it as hard as you can into the earth, just noticing. And then spread your toes like this and dig that little toe into the earth. And then bring it to the back of your heel, outside heel, just imagine it going towards the ground, inside heel, and just notice your grounded feet. Maybe name what you notice, or just be a curious observer, having the experience without there having to be a right way or a wrong way, without there having to be anything to compare it to, and without there needing to be a critic, someone evaluating your experience. So now we're going to think about our skeleton inside of us. Are you sitting in a way where the joints in your ankles, your knees, your hips, are you feeling comfortable? Are they aligned? Is your right side and your left side in balance? Do you have space between your bones? Sit in a way that if you could see yourself on an x-ray, that you would appear to be in balance. The right side, the left side, the front, the back, the top, the bottom. And now we're going to breathe up. We're going to imagine we're breathing up that grounded energy from the core of the earth. We're going to breathe it up through our feet. Imagine it. You can give it a color if you want. Imagine it coming up through your body. And then imagine sending it through the crown of your head up into the space above. And now breathe in all that space above, all that spaciness, all that freedom. Imagine breathing all of that down in through the crown of your head. You can give it a color if you want. Breathe it down through your body. And when you breathe out, send it down into the core of the earth. And again, breathe up from the ground through your body. Send it out the top of your head. Breathe in through the crown of the head. And set it free down through the bottom of your feet, through the ground. One more time, breathe in, bring it up. Set it free. Breathe it in and down. Set it free. And just notice and be curious about your inside world. Is there anything inside that feels too much, too little, or does it feel just right? Balanced. Not too much, not too little. So the last worksheet has the superheroes on it, and it's going to be really simple. So we're just going to notice what it's like. We use the skill of self-awareness to notice discomfort in our body. The discomfort triggers our nervous system and gives our body the message that there may be a threat or a danger. And when that happens, hormones are released to support us in case we have to run, in case we have to fight, in case we have to freeze, or even shut down, like play dead. Like maybe sometimes we think we're sick, but we're not, but we feel like we just need to be to ourselves. So these three skills, when we notice the discomfort, we may be able to disrupt the cycle of turning on our nervous system and our stress response and allow ourselves to have a better present moment experience if there's really no threat or danger. And we can talk more about the nervous system in another lesson. I just want to practice some skills with you that can help you feel more connected to your learning. So it is definitely a weird circumstance with a global pandemic and the other things that I mentioned, but we have the skills, talents, and resources inside of us that where we can adapt to our environment. So we can manage ourselves at home, and it's our day. So even if we're on online school, it's still our day. It's our experience. It's our opportunity for growth, and we can do a better job of playing out our day when we're present, when we're connected, our mind, our heart, our body. So noticing discomfort can be our body's way of telling us that maybe there's something inside that we can lengthen. And when we lengthen, it allows our energy to move inside. When we're stuck or spinning, our energy inside our cells is probably stuck somewhere, maybe one of our joints, or it's gotten off track. It's spinning or it's bumping all over the place like a bad electrical current. So when we notice that, we can lengthen it, give it space. When we lengthen, we can choose to soften, and we can expand our heart space. When our heart space is open and expanded, we give the inside world, our cells, a message that we're safe. We don't feel vulnerable. We feel in charge. And so the cells in our body can do their jobs of being blood cells, of being kidney cells, of being heart cells, and we can do our job of being a active and engaged listener, having a curious way of accessing whatever it is you're doing, especially with the online learning, and applying your own knowledge and curiosities and wonderings to what you're learning. So all this is when we notice discomfort, is there something we can lengthen? And I usually lengthen my spine. Is there something we can soften? I can always soften my shoulders, my jaw, and expand. What can I expand? I can expand my heart. And anytime you notice a place inside that you like the way it feels, validate it, like stamp it and say, I like this. I like this flow. I like this openness. I like this clarity. And you can say to yourself, now this is me. Good job today. I hope that made sense. You may email me, and I'll see you next week.